Genesis chapter 40. Now sometime later the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their lord, Egypt's king, and Pharaoh was angry with his officers, the chief of the butlers and the chief of the bakers. He put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison where Joseph was confined. And the captain of the guard put them in Joseph's charge, and he served them, and they continued in custody for some time. And they both dreamed a dream in the same night, each man according to the personal significance of the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison. When Joseph came to them in the morning and looked at them, he saw that they were sad and depressed. So he asked Pharaoh's officers, who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so dejected and sad today?" And they said to him, "We have dreamed dreams, and there is no one to interpret them." And Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams, I pray you." And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, "In my dream I saw a vine before me, and on the vine were 3 branches. Then it was as though it budded, its blossoms burst forth, and the clusters of them brought forth ripe grapes almost all at once. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and then I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand." And Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position, and you will again put Pharaoh's cup into his hand as when you were his butler. But think of me when it shall be well with you, and show kindness, I beg of you, to me, and mention me to Pharaoh to get me out of this house. For truly I was carried away from the land of the Hebrews by unlawful force, and here too I have done nothing for which they should put me into the dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, "I also dreamed, and behold, I had 3 caked baskets on my head, and in the uppermost basket were some of all kinds of baked food for Pharaoh, but the birds of prey were eating out of the basket on my head." And Joseph answered, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head, but will have you beheaded and hung on a tree, and you will not so much as be given a burial, but the birds will eat your flesh." And on the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all of his servants, and he lifted up the heads of the chief butler and the chief baker by inviting them also among his servants. And he restored the chief butler to his butlership, and the butler gave a cup into Pharaoh's hand. The Pharaoh hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. But even after all that, the chief butler gave no thought to Joseph, but forgot all about him.